Please have mercy on Christine and I so we can still have a chance to grow old together as husband and wife.
We head to Union, South Carolina, for the sentencing of Jeremy and Christine Moody, who are all smiles as they stand before the judge. No, they are not exchanging vows. They're already married. They're also neo-Nazis who were found guilty of first-degree murder in the killing of Charles Parker and his wife Gretchen. The Moodys targeted Parker, who they did not know, after seeing his address in a sex offender state registry. The couple also believed God wanted them to eliminate all sex offenders. Surveillance footage from the Parker home helped police locate the killers, as did Jeremy's tattoos, including skinhead written across his neck, white power atop his head. When the couple were questioned, they didn't deny their guilt. In fact, they both not only confessed, they told authorities they planned to kill more sex offenders. The Moodys pleaded guilty to murder, kidnapping, and burglary, and are in court asking Judge Lee Alford for mercy, as well as the minimum sentence of 30 years in prison.
As charged. Your Honor, not a day goes by that I don't regret what's happened. And I know that what I've done is a sin, and I believe that God has forgiven me of it. Please have mercy on Christine and I so we can still have a chance to grow old together as husband and wife.
Next,
it was Christine Moody's chance to plead for forgiveness.
The Bible clearly states, "Thou shalt not kill." I'm sorry I broke that commandment, but I truly believe God has forgiven Jeremy and I. I hope you will too. Your Honor, please see it fit that Jeremy and I are sentenced to the same sentence of 30 years. Never kissing my husband or feeling his touch again is my very worst nightmare. Please give us a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
After taking in their words of remorse and request to remain together, it's now all up to Judge Alford.
Brutally killed these two people. They had nothing, no way to defend themselves or anything else. And I tell you that I believe that if these two were to get out of jail, I would be concerned that they would do exactly the same thing to him. I don't have any question about it. I think it's a case that justice demands a life sentence.
After hearing their sentences, the murderous couple share a final kiss before they're separated. But as they exit the court, whatever remorse they tried to convey has quickly disappeared.
Perverts later. That's what child molesters get.
Outside the courthouse, the Moodys continue to express their true feelings.
I think Jeremy and I would have done it again if given the opportunity.
Do you have any regrets?
I have no regrets. Killing that pedophile was the best day of my life.
What about not being able to see Jeremy?
Jeremy and I have a love that will withstand this.
What about what you said in court about repenting? Is that not true then?
No, it's not true. My lawyer made me say it.
Do you have anything to say to the victim's family?
May they die also.
Jeremy and Christine Moody were both sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole.
I'm appalled and disgusted by what I've done.
We're in Ogden, Utah, for the sentencing of 41-year-old Dia Millerberg. 3 years earlier, Millerberg, her husband, and their 16-year-old babysitter, Alexis Rasmussen, were sharing alcohol, marijuana, and prescription drugs while engaging in sexual activity at the couple's home. The partying ultimately turned deadly after Eric Millerberg injected the 16-year-old with her third dose of heroin and methamphetamine, causing an overdose. Eric Millerberg, a convicted felon, allegedly feared he'd be sent back to prison if they alerted authorities. So the couple drove Rasmussen's body to a remote area and buried her in a shallow grave. Alexis Rasmussen remained a missing person for more than a month until a tip from a confidential informant led police to her body and back to the Millerbergs. Following the couple's arrest, Dia made an agreement with the prosecution to testify against her husband in exchange for a reduced sentence. She pled guilty to obstructing justice, unlawfully acquiring prescription drugs, and desecration of a dead body. For 3 years, Millerberg's been allowed to live free out on bail and was able to regain custody of her infant and elementary school-aged child. But now at sentencing, she's facing up to 15 years in prison. Before learning her sentence, Millerberg turns to face the victim's family.
Can I?
You may address the audience, just now.
I just want to say that I am appalled and disgusted by what I've done. I've hurt your family in a way I can't fix. You're in my prayers, and I hope one day you'll be able to forgive me, and that God will bring me peace. Your Honor, I'm not gonna make excuses for what I've done. I think it would only make things worse. I have no way to express the magnitude of grief that I feel for Alexis' family for what I've done. But I take responsibility. And thank you for just letting me say my piece.
It's now up to Judge W. Brent West to make a decision.
The bottom line is, Ms. Millerberg, and I do think that prison is the appropriate sentence in this particular situation. I realize that 3 years of allowing you to rebuild and your family and everything of that nature, and then to come in and say, okay, Judge, you're going to destroy that. But I take these cases as I find them to be. I didn't have any control that it took 3 years to bring this to trial.
Judge West was asked by Millerberg's attorney to consider probation over prison, but he has much to consider.
I have to balance society's the need for punishment, the need for rehabilitation, and with all due respect, Ms. Millerberg, sometimes it's not about the defendant. Thank you. But sometimes you do such acts that are such extreme and so heinous and depraved, burying this young girl's body and hiding it from the police. You've got to balance that, and you have to put it all in perspective. It's going to be the order and sentence of the court that you're to serve 3 indeterminate terms in the Utah State Prison of 0 to 5 years. I will recommend that they run concurrent.
Dia Millerberg ultimately served 4 years and 2 months in state prison. As for her husband, Eric Millerberg, he was convicted of child abuse homicide, obstruction of justice, unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, and abuse or desecration of a body, and was sentenced to 6 years to life in prison.
These crimes are horrific. It's clear that you did everything you could, you and Larissa, to hide evidence to protect yourselves.
Next, we go inside Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court in Cleveland, Ohio. Judge Nancy Margaret Russo is about to impose a sentence on Larissa Rodriguez and her boyfriend, Christopher Rodriguez, for something unthinkable: the death of her 5-year-old son, Jordan. One night, Christopher brought the boy, who had developmental needs, to his mother in a semi-conscious state. She gave him a cold shower and put him to bed. The next day, the child was dead. But instead of calling 911, the couple covered the child in blankets and bags full of mothballs and buried him in their own backyard. Nearly 2 months later, after a tip from Christopher Rodriguez's brother, police arrive at the home.
The side door on it is open. I'm not sure if anyone's inside. 7220.
Are your kids here? You mind if we step in? We got a call, want us to check on the well-being of the 4 to 5-year-old kid.
Oh, my kids are good.
Okay, what can we see?
Feeling.
Do you have a child with special needs?
Oh, Jordan? Yes, I do.
How old is Jordan?
Jordan, he is just turned 5.
Where's Jordan at?
He's with his dad. What was the call mainly about?
Just checking the welfare.
She tells police Jordan's in Texas with his father, but she can't provide a phone number to reach them.
So Jordan has family members in Texas?
Yes.
All right. Do you know any numbers or how to get in touch with anybody who actually lives in Texas?
I mean, right now, his phone just got disconnected.
What's his address?
He just had his phone disconnected. He's going to be calling me with the phone number.
She's just lied to police. The following day, police return and confirm the tip from Christopher Rodriguez's brother, who said the boy's buried in the backyard. Larissa Rodriguez and her boyfriend are charged. The couple enter into a plea deal. Murder charges are dropped in exchange for pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter, felonious assault, 2 counts of child endangerment, and abuse of a corpse. Judge Russo sentences Larissa Rodriguez first.
The court imposes sentence as follows. Counts 1, 2, and 3 to be served consecutive to each other and concurrent to the sentence imposed in count 5 for a total sentence of 25 years.
But before sentencing Christopher Rodriguez, Judge Russo is compelled to make a statement.
And I look at these photographs, and it's very hard. Mr. Rodriguez, this is a horror. I know as a judge I'm not supposed to show emotion. And in 22 years, I never have. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Whatever this child's life was supposed to be, you made sure it didn't happen. You and Larissa. I didn't even hear you say you were sorry. I will not accept the recommendation for Mr. Rodriguez.
Prosecutors and defense attorneys had agreed to a recommended sentence of 20 to 25 years. But for Judge Russo, the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
These crimes are horrific. You had every opportunity at so many points to make a difference, to get help, to call the police, to ask for help, to try to take him to the hospital. I have to imagine that at some point you got on the internet and said, how do I bury a body? Because this is unbelievable to me. The level of meticulousness that you went through to not be discovered. I honestly don't know how you live with yourself. I don't know how either one of you live with yourself.
And with that, Judge Russo sentences Christopher Rodriguez.
Your sentence as follows: total sentence of 28 years. It's the maximum sentence available.
Judge Russo goes 3 years beyond the recommended maximum the attorneys had agreed upon. Rodriguez appealed the ruling, but it was upheld. He and Larissa Rodriguez are currently serving their terms in separate locations in the Ohio prison system.
I have sinned. I am aware that for my crimes, anything short of death is really merciful.
Next, we go to Bakersfield, California, for the sentencing of Jonathan Hearn. The 27-year-old pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the death of Robert Limon. Hearn killed the victim because he was having an affair with Limon's wife, Sabrina, and the two wanted to be together. The Limons were part of a local swingers club, and at first, Limon was okay with the affair. But when Limon later asked his wife to stop seeing Hearn, she and Hearn put a plan into action. Instead of a divorce, Hearn went to Limon's workplace, seen here in this surveillance video, and shot the father of two. Hearn was arrested and charged with murder. But the state also wanted to charge Sabrina. Hearn agreed to testify against her to avoid a possible life sentence.
She was somebody that stood out to me automatically as having a real magnetic personality.
When you used the word affair, you were having sex with Miss Limon.
Yeah, it was a primarily emotional affair, though we were hooking up from time to time. We talked about things that I would say normal people who are dating or going out probably wouldn't discuss.
Eventually, the couple began discussing ways to eliminate Limon.
It definitely turned from humor into something that actually began to materialize.
After reviewing the evidence, a jury found Limon guilty of murder, conspiracy, and being an accessory. A month later, after Hearn pleaded guilty to manslaughter, he goes before Judge John Brownlee to learn his sentence. But first, the former firefighter has a few things he'd like to say.
To Robert's family and his dear friends, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for stealing your brother, your friend. I'm sorry for the effects of my pride and lust and anger. I'm sorry for my inexcusable involvement with Robert's wife. I'm sorry for the grief that I caused to Robert's mother that broke her heart. To the two children whose dad I took away from them. I'm so sorry. I cannot deserve your forgiveness. I am aware that for my crimes, anything short of death is really merciful. By the grace of God, I am what I am.
It's now up to Judge Brownlee to determine the sentence.
To be ordered the defendant served 25 years, 4 months in prison.
3 months later, Sabrina goes before the same judge to learn her sentence.
As to count 1, murder in the first degree, probation will be denied and the defendant will be sent to the Department of Corrections for 25 years to life.
Limon won't be eligible for parole until 2036, when she would be 56. Because of his guilty plea, Hearn is eligible for parole in 2028, when he would be just 38 years old.
I'm sorry for, acting immature on the road. I understand that, being on the road, you do have other people's lives in your hand. And, I should have thought about that.
Defendant Cyrus Matthews was there on misdemeanor charges stemming from a road rage case.
As well as is there any way that we can reverse this jail time?
Well, you're going to have to go to jail today. If you need to get out to attend a hearing, we can consider furloughs. Okay, but right now you're going to go to jail today. Okay? So you have to go today, right? No, hey, call the police. I'm in charge of felony escape if he doesn't get back to this court.
Matthew's girlfriend follows him out. There seems to be a moment of hesitation here on Matthew's part. We now know it's the bailiff trying to reason with him, explaining that his escape will lead to felony charges. To no avail. Now, the Wadsworth police take over.
He was sentenced to jail and took off.
Matthews is way ahead, reaching speeds of up to 90 miles an hour. Officer James Walzer's receiving updates.
I saw him turn north onto Lyman from Maple. He was in an older gray four-door vehicle.
28, he's not. He's running red lights at Hartman, passing on the right at Williams Reserve. My speed's 90, trying to catch up. Wadsworth, I think we're going to have a code 2. We're going to have a code 2 at Akron 76.
Matthews has crashed into a white SUV, seen just off the road there.
Where's he at?
That's Matthews' car there.
All right, we're going to have multiple vehicles, airbag deployment. Ma'am, are you okay? Okay.
The passengers are a couple and their infant child.
She's okay. All right, we got squads coming.
Thankfully, they have non-life-threatening injuries.
Ashley, help them get out. Help them get out. He's up here.
Officer Walzer hustles over towards Matthews' car across the road.
Wadsworth, I'm gonna need multiple squads.
No, I need help, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Tight.
You can hear that Matthews realizes he's made a truly horrible decision.
What was going on? Why were you taking off?
Because they're trying to lock me up for 90 days and I have a whole life.
So what happened?
I tried to run like
Why?
Matthews and his girlfriend are extracted by the Wadsworth Police Department and taken to the hospital. Matthews is charged with aggravated felonious assault for injuring his girlfriend and the occupants of the other vehicle. He's sentenced to 425 days in jail. His girlfriend is not charged. Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam. Subscribe to A&E to never miss a new video and catch full episodes on aetv.com.